to give new impetus for interdependence among societies, liberalization of policies among nations, and sharing of practices across cultures. In the Philippines, the passage of the Local Government Code of 1991 has brought a promising outlook to our local communities. However, high levels of modernization, widespread poverty, and environmental degradation continued to serve as challenges for LGUs. During the last 3 decades, capacity development as a key driver for good local performance has been a central theme in the development platforms of development partners. Considered then as the cure-all solution that would address the capacity gaps of all local governments, more institutions have embarked in training and other services for LGUs. As a result, capacity development programs have been fragmented, duplicating and lacking in coordination among providers, funding sources, and target beneficiaries. For these reasons, harmonization of such programs have emerged as a top priority for the government and development partners in the Philippine Development Forum. Given the dynamic market for capacity development, the Local Government Academy of the Department of Interior and Local Government, as the key agency for local capacity development, was tasked to assume a strategic role in facilitating capacity development through its core mandate of providing learning opportunities for LGUs. The Local Governance Resource Center, or LGRC, which was established in select DILG regional offices in 2005 with support from the Canadian International Development Agency, was identified to serve as a dynamic and interactive capacity development platform. To harmonize capacity development, the LGRC provides an innovative framework to integrate knowledge management, multi-stakeholdership, and synergy in service delivery. The LGRC goes beyond the business-as-usual training seminar and lakbay aral modalities. It creates value and revolutionizes the way capacity development interventions are being delivered. It is proactive and serves as a unique platform for convergence of various local governance stakeholders. It is a one-stop shop mechanism, a convergence of all needed interventions in local governance capacity development. The LGRC is based on the following key and guiding principles in its operation: knowledge management, multi-stakeholder participation, and convergence. Knowledge management is the overarching framework of the LGRC. Multi-stakeholder participation is the realization that there is no monopoly of knowledge and that the same should be shared and used to promote efficiency, effectiveness, learning, and innovation in local governance. Convergence ensures that various initiatives in local governance are harmonized within DILG and other local governance stakeholders. The LGRC has 4 major service areas in delivering local governance services. 1. Multimedia and knowledge. 2. Capacity development. 3. Linkage. And 4. Public education and citizenship development. In 2009, through the European Union Strategic Programs Facility, the LGRCs were further supported to sharpen its captive programs and services. The program, Strengthening Local Governance Resource Centers as a Harmonizing Mechanism for Effective Local Governance in the Philippines, takes its pride on its milestones such as the establishment of a network of LGRCs guided by an oversight and coordination mechanism, a business strategy, and a KM framework to facilitate the sharing of knowledge products among the LGRCs and its partners. Furthermore, the program has strengthened the multi-stakeholder participation mechanism in the design, delivery, and monitoring of capacity development programs. Multi-stakeholder advisory councils are now utilized and further reinforced with the establishment of communities of practice and certified pool of experts and coaches at the national and regional levels. Recognizing the importance of modern tools, the program has enhanced the capacity of LGRCs by upgrading its information management technologies, websites, and database systems. LGRC personnel are now equipped with the appropriate tools and skills to deliver its services to LGUs through the online captive market system.
To ensure the smooth conduct of the forum session, all participants are expected to comply with the following rules. 1. Please make sure that you logged in using the email address you provided during the registration. 2. Your full name must be reflected on your account name. Otherwise, please rename by clicking More beside your name in the participants list. You may also chat in your full name and the chat moderators will assist you in renaming your account. 3. Don't forget to click the Join Audio button to ensure that you can clearly hear the speakers. 4. Kindly ensure that your video camera is off and your microphone is on mute. 5. Please make sure to accomplish the feedback form. The link and the QR code will be flashed on the screen before the end of the session. If you are a Zoom participant, you must stay online for at least 1.5 hours. If you are a Facebook viewer, please comment down your full name, position, and organization 3 times. First, when you start watching. Second, when the chat moderators ask you to comment during the session. And third, when the technical host flashes the link and QR code of the feedback form before the session ends. Thank you.
Be empowered and effective partners of the nation's development. Take part in building a promising future for our communities.
Recording in progress.
Eternal God, Creator of the universe, there is no God but you. Great and wonderful are your works, wondrous are your ways. Thank you for the many splendored variety of your creation. Thank you for the many ways we affirm your presence and purpose, and the freedom to do so. Forgive our violation of your creation. Forgive our violence toward each other. We stand in awe and gratitude for your persistent love for each and all of your children. Grant to all and our leaders attributes of the strong, mutual respect in words and deed, the strength in their exercise of power, and the will for peace with justice for all. Grant us success in our endeavor and for the success of this activity, so that we may bring honor and praise to you. Eternal God, Creator of the universe, there is no God but you. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, pelas ang sinanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupa ang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiging sa manlulupig, di ka pasisingin sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong butaw. Manilagang tula namin sa paglayang minamahal, ang kisag ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdikinig. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na pag may mga api, mamamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Naimbag ang madam,
Maya payabak,
marhay na adlaw,
maayong buntag,
maayong aga.
at magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, and welcome to the Philippine Local Governance Forum 2021 with the theme, The Wonders of Devolution, 30 Years of Strong and Empowered Local Governments. I am Christian Nagaynay.
And I am Maria Jenica Villabeto. We are from DILG Region 6, and we will be your hosts for this morning's forum.
Bago po ang lahat, kami po ay taus-pusong nagpapasalamat sa pagdalo po ninyo sa event na ito. This October, we are celebrating the Local Government Month and the 30th anniversary of the Local Government Code. We salute all our local officials, local government stakeholders, as well as the people in the communities who are working hand in hand in the pursuit of good local governance.
Despite of the challenges, our local government units, with the guidance of the Local Government Code, have made valuable efforts to solve complex issues and bridge the gap between the government and the people.
Devolution really works, and it is high time for us to commemorate the enactment of the code, wherein the value of local autonomy is emphasized in reaching the maximum potential of localities, making our local government units productive partners of the national government. The Philippine Local Governance Forum is an annual offering of the DILG, together with the DILG bureaus, the Local Government Academy, and the DILG Regional Office through the Local Governance Regional Resource Centers, or the LGRRCs, to support and guide our local government units in transitioning into full devolution, making well-informed decisions, and performing their key roles effectively in achieving local governance excellence.
As promoted, the forum will highlight 3 key areas, including empowerment, participation, and capacity development vis-a-vis local governance areas and processes in the last 30 years. We have invited the best resource persons to impart ang kanilang mga natutunan at kanilang mga istorya sa larangan ng good local governance. Today, we will start the celebration, and we are honored and grateful to have our DILG Undersecretary for Local Government, Yusek Marlo Iringan, to officially welcome us in this forum.
Maraming salamat, DILG Secretary Eduardo Emanio, Sir, Congressman Edgardo M. Chato, Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines President, Governor Daquila Carlo Cua, League of the Provinces of the Philippines President, Governor Presbitero J. Velasco Jr., League of Cities of the Philippines President, Mayor Evelio R. Leonardia, League of Municipalities of the Philippines President, Mayor Luis C. Singson, Liga ng mga Barangay President, the Honorable Eden C. Pineda, Honorable Governors, Mayors, and other LGU officials, the LPP Executive Director, Ms. Sandra Paredes, the League of Cities of the Philippines Executive Director, Ms. Veron Quitosis, and LMP Executive Director, Andrea Loriaga, our colleagues in the Department of the Interior and Local Government, our Undersecretaries, Assistant Secretaries, our Regional Directors and Bureau Directors, the Executive Director of the Local Government Academy, Director Telma Vecina, who leads the staging of this event, and ably assisted by Director Ana Bonagua of BLGD, Regional Director Juan Jovian Inñero of DILG Region 6, and RD Josephine Leisa of Region 12, our Assistant Directors and Assistant Regional Directors, Provincial and City Directors, our City Municipal Local Government Operations Officers, other personnel of the Department of the Interior and Local Government. Of course, we would like to acknowledge Undersecretary Rolando U. Tolede of the Department of Budget and Management, officials of other national government agencies, our valued partners from the civil society organizations, non-government organizations, and learning resource institutes. To one and all, a pleasant morning. I hope you are all good. Kumusta po kayo? On behalf of the Secretary of the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Eduardo M. Año, I welcome everyone to the opening session of the Philippine Local Governance Forum 2021. This marks the beginning of a series of virtual sessions in a month-long celebration of the 30th year since the passage of the Local Government Code in 1991. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right. 30 years. Ganun na katagal ang lumipas na panahon mula nung maipasa ang batas na ito. Earlier, Governor Dax Cuba and I were talking, and according to him, he was only a teenager when the Local Government Code was enacted in 1991. I was in my 20s back then. So you can just compute, I'm now plus 30, 20 plus 30, I'm now in my 50s. Ganun na katagal. And this landmark legislation was enacted during that time, and it is short of a miracle given the centralist system of government back then. That this milestone was enacted is a testament to the vision of the men and women who made it possible. A vision where LGUs are not just mere bystanders, but that LGUs play a key and important role in national development. Indeed, over the past 3 decades, we have seen and witnessed empowered local governments step up to become exemplars of good local governance. Over the past 30 years, the constant drive of harnessing the potentials of local governments to trailblaze governance reform areas are facilitated not just by our own efforts, rather a joint undertaking between and among like-minded and right-minded individuals and institutions with the shared goal of making our local governments pursue their own development agenda in an enabling environment of local autonomy and decentralization. It has not been an easy journey though, as the objectives of the code are not yet fully realized through the 30 years of its existence. There were trials and tribulations and challenges along the way, especially faced by LGUs with low capacity. Further strain is added on LGUs with high poverty incidence and high unemployment rate. LGUs in geographically isolated and depressed areas, LGUs located in disaster and hazard-prone areas, and even those in conflict-affected areas. And lately, for over a year and a half now, the COVID-19 global pandemic placed pressure on the entire country, especially as it required our local government units to be in the front line and in the forefront of efforts to combat the virus. This pandemic and other challenges underscore the importance of further empowering local governments as partners of the national government in the fight not just against COVID-19, but against disaster and crisis of such magnitude, against poverty and unemployment. This necessitates a collective undertaking through the whole of nation and whole of government approach. In 2022, the landmark Supreme Court ruling on the Mandanas and Garcia petition shall be implemented. Essentially, this will further fuel and accelerate local government empowerment through an increase in intergovernmental transfers afforded to local government units starting 2022. This is and should be a welcome development that will further reinforce the spirit and intent of the Constitution and the Local Government Code. Indeed, there were pains, but there were also gains. There were trials, but more importantly, there were triumphs. This year's celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Local Government Code with the theme Wonders, the Wonders of Devolution, 30 years of strong and empowered local governments, seek to highlight the gains and the triumphs, the efforts and notable achievements of these outstanding local governments, as well as partners and enabling institutions that play a strategic role in harnessing potentials and in facilitating the maturing process towards full devolution. This forum, as mentioned, will consist of virtual sessions engaging the leagues, our different local governments, development partners, the national government agencies, and other key stakeholders. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to have our esteemed guest and resource speaker, the Honorable Congressman Edgardo M. Chato. We will share insights on how devolution works over the past 30 years and drive us down memory lane on the highlights and extraordinary milestones we have achieved since then. We will also be joined this morning by Undersecretary Rolando U. Toledo, our partner in the full devolution effort. And of course, we are honored to have the support and presence of all the local governments through their different leagues. The Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines, led by Governor Daquila Carlo Icua. The League of Provinces of the Philippines, led by Governor Presbitero Velasco Jr. The League of Cities of the Philippines, led by Mayor Evelio Leonardia. The League of Municipalities of the Philippines, led by Mayor Luis C. Singson. And the Liga ng mga Barangay, led by the Honorable Eden C. Pineda. Later, we will hear from them as we define the role of the leagues in deepening the drive towards good local governance. As we celebrate the gains of our LGUs and as we look into the bright future, may we take into account the learnings and wisdom we have accumulated over the past 30 years of implementing the Local Government Code to work with a laser-like focus and hammer out a more convergent, cohesive, and balanced strategy towards the attainment of full devolution. As the Philippine Local Governance Forum highlights achievements in the Local Government Code implementation, we encourage all of you to join us in the virtual sessions throughout the month-long celebration as we revel in the accomplishments we had from the past and as we prepare ourselves for what the future holds. Samahan po ninyo kami sa makabuluhang paggunita sa nakaraang 30 taon ng lokal autonomiya. Naway makatulong at maging inspirasyon para sa ating lahat ang mga pag-uusapan at mga ganap sa pagdiriwang na ito. Madalasan na natin ang aral ng nakaraan para sa ating pagsulong tungo sa matino at mahusay na pamamahala para sa ikaunlad ng bawat lokal na pamahalaan sa buong bansa. To those who are here today, to those who love the local government units, to those who have worked hard to help LGUs realize their aspirations, and to those who are rooting for LGUs to succeed, happy 30th Local Government Code Month celebration. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Maraming salamat, our DILG Undersecretary for Local Government, Yusek Marlo Iringan. Indeed, today's activity is the jumpstart of our celebration of the wonderful 30 years of full devolution. As mentioned by Yusek, it was a journey wherein we have witnessed the convergence of the right-minded and the like-minded people in harnessing local governance and empowering our local government units towards the learnings of the past 30 years and in transforming these learnings into the gains that we are going to bring with us as we transition to full devolution by 2022. Nika?
And to share about the forum's theme and to give the overview of the Local Government Month celebration, may we now call on our screens the Executive Director of the Local Government Academy, Ma'am Thelma T. Vecina.
Good morning, and thank you, Christian and Nika. Thank you very much for hosting our 30th, 30th years of strong and empowered local government, our 30th anniversary of the code. Thank you very much. So, welcome to the Philippine Local Governance Forum. This is actually the second year we are having this, always in time for the code anniversary. No, so the DIG, through the Local Government Academy, is conducting the annual Philippine Local Governance Forum. It's an annual celebration of honor to honor the remarkable contribution of local government units and other local governance stakeholders towards nation building. So allow me to give you an overview of what will happen this October. Of course, our respect to our guests, our local government units, our officials who are here, the leagues, our ever supportive leagues, and of course, the DILG personnel, representative from the national government agencies, and other local government stakeholders. So, good morning, and thank you for joining us today. The overall objective of this annual celebration is really to highlight integral reforms implemented by local government units and other local governance stakeholders that contributed for a meaningful devolution and decentralization of the government. Highlighted are policy reforms and programs from national government agencies and actual stories of success by local government units that contributed for a meaningful decentralization and devolution of power from the national government. The year's theme is the wonders of devolution, 30 years of strong and empowered local governments. We have witnessed how LGUs exercise local autonomy and strive to fulfill the promises of devolution. Yes, there were setbacks, but we have witnessed how our LGUs collectively rose from the challenge with grit and resilience. The forum will highlight key areas considered the driving forces behind the quest for excellence in local governance in the country, which are empowerment, participation, capacity vis-a-vis local governance areas, processes, and the last 30 years. Let me present to you the logo of this month-long activity. Yeah. The Philippine Local Governance Forum is a celebration of the birth of decentralization and local autonomy in the country that was realized through a landmark legislation known as the Local Government Code of 1991. Now, on its 30th year, the arrows in the logo symbolize the continuous goal of moving forward alongside the power of devolution towards a shared vision bounded by unity among the national government, local government, Filipino people in the years to come. Connected to the arrows is a bamboo, a plant known for its strength and flexibility, symbolizing the attributes of resiliency that Filipino communities are known for despite the odds. The three stars and the sun represents the Philippines, and attached to it are the chat boxes, signifying the exchange of knowledge, continuing dialogues, and convergence of local governance stakeholders through this month-long event. Lastly, the elements on the bottom signify the key areas forum will highlight, namely empowerment, participation, and capacity development on local governance areas and processes in the last 30 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our official logo for the Philippine Local Governance Forum. Expected participants to the different sessions are our local government officials, local chief executives, Sanggunian members, and other local government officials, officers and staff of the national government agencies, the local government leagues and their officials, other local governance stakeholders, local and international. The 2021 Philippine Local Governance Forum is brought to you by the Department of the Interior and Local Government through the Local Government Academy and the Local Governance Regional Resource Centers that was introduced officially to you in the in the video presentation when we started this program, the LGRRCs of DILG Region 2, 3, Calabarzon, 6, 12, Caraga, and the National Capital Region, and by the department, particularly the Bureau of Local Government Development, the Bureau of Local Government Supervision, the National Barangay Operations Office, Office of the Project Development Services, and the Public Affairs and Communication Service of the DILG. Several sessions are online on these specific dates. Today, we're having the opening ceremony, and of course, it's not just an ordinary opening ceremony, but we have also esteemed speakers. Also, our friends from the leagues will be sharing some of their views, really on how we're moving forward, the plans, and all of that wonderful things about food evolution. And then on October 14, 8:30 to 12, we will have a session focused on unveiling the power of devolution towards empowered LGUs. The message here is to appreciate best ways on how to efficiently allocate resources in time with the full devolution in 2022. Our co-convener for this are DILG, LGRRC2 and LGRRC Caraga and the Bureau of Local Government Supervision. On October 19, 8:30 to 12 noon, we will have our session on synergy in local governance, the local edition, to showcase regional and local efforts, best practices as role models of local governance excellence, recognizing contributions of local government stakeholders and local partners towards devolution. Our co-convener are the DILG Local Governance Resources 3 and DILG LGRRC Calabarzon and the National Barangay Operations Office. And October 22, 8:30 again to 12 noon, our session will be on Synergy in Local Governance, International Edition, appreciating the strategies and contributions of international partners in local governance. Our co-convener are DILG LGRRC National Capital Region and the Office of Project Development on Project OPDS, Office of Project Development Services of the DILG. And on October 28, 8:30 to 12 noon, gearing up for full devolution and our closing ceremony. This is to reiterate the concept of full devolution and feature other NGAs on how they are preparing to capacitate LGUs for full devolution. Our co-conveners is the Local Government Academy with BLGS, the Bureau of Local Government Supervision, and the Bureau of Local Government Development. Of course, in our effort to reach most, if not all, of our local government units, the prime movers of local autonomy in the country, we are in Zoom, or you can also join us via Facebook Live. And for latest updates on the Philippine Local Governance Forum and session schedule, open www.lj.gov.ph or Facebook at LJ Philippines. So, ladies and gentlemen, together, let's celebrate this milestone in Philippine local governance, the 30 years of strong and empowered local government. Thank you very much and good morning.
Maraming salamat, Executive Director Thelma Vicina ng Local Government Academy. Indeed, that was an invitation po para sa ating lahat, an invitation to join us in this month-long celebration of the Local Government Code anniversary, and an invitation po for us to walk through to the gains of the Local Government Code as we continue to empower and deliver the best to our local government units. And po, Nika?
As we all know, we are now celebrating the 30th year of the enactment of the Local Government Code. So let us now look back on the historic event that paved way for better delivery of basic services and local accountabilities of our local government units. So to formally introduce our next speaker, who will help with us in the retrospection of the Philippine devolution, may we call on the Assistant Regional Director of DILG Region 6, ARD Maria Calpisa J. Sardua Cesofor.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Nika. Thank you, Christian. Our next speaker is a lawyer, economist, and public administrator by profession. He obtained his academic degrees and trainings from the University of the Philippines, Ateneo de Manila University, Holy Name University, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, Harvard University John F. Kennedy School of Government, and recently he was conferred an honorary doctorate degree in technology management by the Bohol Island State University. Congressman Chato has 27 years in experience in local governance as mayor, member of the provincial board, vice governor, governor of the province of Bohol. As governor, he sat as chair of both the Regional Peace and Order Council and the Regional Development Council. He has also served 11 years as a member of the House of Representatives and continues to do so up to the present. Throughout his career in local governance, he was heavily involved as a top national officials in various local government leagues, such as the League of Provinces, League of Vice Governors, League of Municipalities, and the National Movement of Young Legislators. Unknown to many, he coined the name Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines, or ULAP, and served as its founding Secretary General. Congressman Chato is a recipient of various awards and recognitions, including the highest Civil Service Commission awards for outstanding public officials and employees, the Lingkod Bayan Award, and Dangal ng Bayan Award. He is married to Balilihan Mayor Maria Puriza Veloso Chato with an only child, Attorney Esther Patricia Chato. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow public servants, please join me in welcoming Congressman.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. DILG Secretary Eduardo Anio, DILG Undersecretary Mario Rinan, LJ Director Thelma Vecina, DILG officials, presidents of the various leagues led by ULA President Governor Dax Tua, LCP President Governor Restituto Velasco Jr., LCP President Aurelio Leonardia, LNP President Mayor Luis David Singson, and of course our Liga ng mga Barangay President Eden Pineda, local chief executives, and local officials present here today, representatives from the national government agencies, local and international stakeholders, my colleagues in public service, friends, ladies and gentlemen. A pleasant morning to each and everyone gathered here today for the Philippine Local Governance Forum. Indeed, this year marks a significant day as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the passage of the landmark legislation, the 1991 Local Government Code, or Republic Act number 7160. Thank you for inviting me as today's speaker. I was tasked to talk about Philippine devolution in retrospect, particularly to provide some insights on how devolution has worked in the last 30 years, and how devolution will continue to do so in 2022 and beyond. This year's theme, The Wonders of Devolution, 30 years of strong and empowered local governments. 30 is a significant number. Part of the meaning of the number 30 comes from its symbolizing dedication to a particular task or calling. It is said that it is at this age when a person reaches both physical and mental maturity and could therefore handle major responsibilities. Similarly, 30 years after the code was passed, we can say that most LGUs in the Philippines should have already reached its maturity level and independence that they need as vital partners of the national government. I was 30 years old in 1990 when Congress was deliberating the local government code. I was then serving as municipal mayor of the municipality of Banlinan in the province of Bohol. Batas Pambansa bilang 337 was the prevailing law for local governments. I share, along with other public servants, in this forum long stints in public service, which gave us the privilege to be witnesses and direct participants in the journey of devolution in the Philippines. As for me, I have served elected positions in government for 38 years now, starting from board member representing the youth sector to mayor, vice governor, congressman, 9 years of governorship, then back as congressman, 27 years in local government, and 11 years in Congress. As youth sector representative under the then Kabataan Barangay, now the Sangguniang, I served as member of the Barangay Council and the Municipal Council. It was a privilege working both in the executive and legislative branches of government, both at the local and at the national level. I was also founding Secretary General of the Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines, while serving as the national president of the League of Vice Governors of the Philippines, and served as Secretary General of the League of Provinces of the Philippines. Looking back, local autonomy has done a long way. A common assumption is that the current decentralization process in the Philippines is a complete break from an overly centralized task. This is not precise. History tells us, and by history I mean from the time of the pre-colonial Philippines decentralization and the accompanying notion of local autonomy are not new phenomena. In fact, pre-Spanish time, almost everything was localized. The Spanish colonizers then introduced a centralized system with the Spanish governor general as the supreme authority in all local matters. They retained the indigenous barangay, renamed as barrio, as basic administrative units, but added other terms or tiers of local governments. The pueblos, municipalities, cabildos, cities, and provincias or provinces. From then on, until the various Philippine constitution prior to the present, devolution in one form or another has been the general trend. Significant previous legislations include the Local Autonomy Act, the Barrio Charter Act, and the Decentralization Act of 1967, the Local Government Act of 1973, and other similar enactments. The provision of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, however, served as the legal precedent for the current Republic Act 7116, which was completed after almost 5 years of debate in Congress. The present Code, Republic Act 7160, provides 5 features that set it apart. from previous decentralization attempts in the country. First, the code transfers certain regulatory and licensing powers to local governments. These include reclassification of agricultural lands, enforcement of environmental laws, and so on. Second, it increases the financial resources available to local government units by broadening their taxing powers, providing them with a specific share from the national wealth exported in their areas, and increasing their automatic share from national taxes. The basis of which we know has been changed now by the recent Mandanas Garcia ruling. Third, it lays down the policy framework for the direct involvement of civil society, most especially NGOs and people's organizations in the processes of local governance. Fourth, the code encourages LGUs to be more entrepreneurial by providing them with opportunities to enter into joint ventures with the private sector, engage in BOT arrangements, float bonds, obtain loans from local private institutions, and the like. The 1991 Local Government Code, thus, is a major game changer in the definition of local autonomy in the country where the president merely exercises general supervision over LGUs for the sole purpose of ensuring that local affairs are administered according to law. The autonomous LGUs are free to chart their own destiny and share their future with minimum intervention from central authorities. According to a constitutional author, decentralization of power amounts to self-immolation, since in that event, the autonomous government becomes accountable, not to the central authorities, but to the constituency. In its 30-year existence as the main law for devolution, Republic Act 7160 has indeed shepherded various gains in local governance. I want to share a few practical gains from my own personal experiences as local chief executive in the province of Bohol. First, I have seen how Republic Act 7160 has effectively laid the structural framework in separating the executive and legislative functions, with the governor given mainly executive functions and leaving the legislative function to the vice governor and the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, which is also true not only to provincial but the city and municipal governments. This has manifestly enhanced local legislative capabilities. In the enactment of local laws, including codification of local ordinances, such as environment codes, administrative codes, revenue codes, and other vital measures. Second, the innovation of giving LGUs the power to administer its own resources has given enough elbow room and flexibility in our planning, budgeting, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation, our programs, projects, and activities. Third, the grant of taxing powers has substantially increased fiscal capabilities of LGUs. Fourth, in order to address the growing need of the community, LGUs were given authority to associate and form leagues that share common goals. This we see through the various leagues in the various levels of governance, which are very active and helpful in so many ways today. Fifth, through these various leagues, the umbrella organization, the Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines, was born and duly registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. I am a proud founding officer and Secretary General of the league, the ULA. Sixth, the current Republic Act 7160 opened the door for the meaningful participation of NGOs, CSOs, and the private sector in various governance levels of government. Seventh, there were also various gains at the national level, such as the passage by Congress of various laws that strengthens the evolution, such as the ease of doing business law, institutionalization of the Seal of Good Local Governance Act, or Republic Act 11292, the Community-Based Monitoring System Act, or RA 11315, and the like. You will agree with me that when we talk of challenges under Republic Act 7160, the resounding answer would be of fund resource. We have seen this concretely in the constitutional matching grant for, rather conditional matching grant for provinces or provincial roads program, or the Calzada program, which we in the League of Provinces started, but with very scarce resources and funds, but which we also hope to change now with the Mandanas Garcia ruling. We also see this through the various legislations enacted giving additional functions to LGUs without concomitant adjustments in resource allocation. As the former Secretary General of the League of Provinces of the Philippines, I have taken the view that Republic Act 7160 still has several provisions that created gaps, which have not been amended up to this time and are in need of revisions in order to resolve these long-standing issues that tend to hamper the LGU's ability to effectively address the growing needs of their constituents. As an advocate of fiscal and local autonomy myself, I firmly believe in a bottom-up approach in planning. The Executive Order number 138, although it espouses full devolution, is an administrative issuance, which cannot actually amend a substantive law. The Supreme Court decision on the Mandanas Garcia itself merely corrected the determination of the national tax base and the computation of the local government's just share in the national taxes. The court did not impose this full devolution in its decision. Let us be clear about this. In the case of Pimentel versus Aguirre, the Supreme Court declared that local fiscal autonomy includes the power of the LGUs to, inter alia, allocate their resources in accordance with their own priorities. Under existing law, local government units, in addition to having administrative autonomy in the exercise of their functions, enjoy fiscal autonomy as well. Fiscal autonomy means that local governments have the power to create their own resources or sources of revenue in addition to their equitable share in the national taxes released by the national government, as well as the power to allocate their resources in accordance with their own priorities. It extends to the preparation of their budgets, and local officials, in turn, have to work within the constraints thereof. They are not at the to local needs. In Ganson versus Court of Appeals, the Supreme Court said that local autonomy is signified instituted through a system of decentralization. The court held that the grant of autonomy is intended to break up the monopoly of the national government over the affairs of locals, not to end the relationship of partnership and interdependence between the central administration and the local government units. Paradoxically, local for the purpose of enhancing self-government. It relieves the central government of the burden of managing local affairs and enables it to concentrate
All right, I think we are having a hard time in the connection of Congressman Ed Chato, but we will wait for him to come back. Anyhow, we would like to welcome again those who have just joined us in the platform for today's activity, the beginning of our Philippine Local Governance Forum. And with that, Nika, we're just very thankful that we are more than 300 right now in the platform and more to come. More are coming in despite this bad weather in some parts of our country. And we extend our prayers to our brothers and sisters in the areas wherein the typhoon right now is passing by. And we hope everyone's safe for everyone's safety on that end. Right? So we're waiting for
And
Congressman Ed Chato to come in.
as a president of Congress, this that during the budget deliberations, the national government agencies' budgets no longer provide fiscal or financial support to LGUs on programs or project activities that these national agencies used to implement, but were already devolved under Republic Act 7160. These PPAs or
All right, in the series, we're really having a bad connection with Congressman Ed Chato. That was, we are already reliving the part of the passage of the local government code and how it was transitioning towards really forum. So far, so good. We are 300 plus in the platform, Nika.
Yes, Sir Yan, you're also live in Facebook. And we are still currently waiting for Congressman Edgar Doshato.
Once they learn to spread their wings, flapping them is the next step. And soon, that the flapping becomes flight. But even then, it isn't with the grace with which we are accustomed to seeing birds fly. They still have to practice to learn how to take off and land and discover how the wind affects flight. With time, though, this all becomes natural. Fledgling usually begin trying to fly when the birds are about 2 weeks old. And although they have started to leave the nest, they are not on their own. The parents are typically nearby, keeping a watchful eye on their offspring and still providing food. What I relayed, my fellow public servants, is an account of how birds fly, and I cannot help but see its stark analogy with the Philippine devolution experience and our situation now. After 30 years of guidance from the local government code, the time has come to let the LGUs fly. It will not be the same experience to all LGUs. Some will immediately fly high or soar. Some will find time to balance everything or maneuver still. Some will need a little more guidance from the parent bird, regardless of the size of the bird, unless, of course, in the case of flightless ones, birds will at one time or another find their grit and fly. These are all part of the journey of independence, and in our case, of autonomy. It is said that there are four. These are weight, lift, drag, and thrust. The local government code, the continued assistance and support from the national government, linkage to various leagues, and participation of the civil society sector, the recent Mandanas Garcia ruling, as well as previous and future related policies, provide the forces of flight that will enable the LGUs to fly. I say, as we enter this new chapter in the journey of devolution in the country, let us give trust in our institutions, as well as the 3 decades of preparation and experience under RACA 7160, a chance to find balance and fly. Thank you very much. God bless and stay safe, everyone.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Edgardo Chato, for leading us in reliving the local government code since its passage in 1991. Nika, how old are you when the local government code was enacted?
Honestly, Sir Yan, I was still not born on that year that it was passed. So, how about you, sir?
Yeah, I was 2 years old. So that makes sense when you do mathematics, 30 plus 2. Anyway, with that, we're just very thankful that it's one way or the other. We have enjoyed reliving the past, how the local government code has really has been instrumental for our local government units, no, in the pursuit of local autonomy. And at this point in time, as we transition to the implementation of the Garcia Mandanas ruling in 2022, we're looking more and, well, we're anticipating more of the positive impact, right, Nika, on how these full devolution will really create and spur more development to our local government units. So with that, well, as I have said, no, we're going to transition to full devolution by 2022. And on that, let us hear from the department's preparation and ways forward in helping our local government units. May we call again the DILG Undersecretary for Local Government, Undersecretary Marlo Iringan to introduce our next speaker. Sir?
Thank you very much, Christian. And once again, a pleasant morning to one and all. It is my honor to introduce our honored speaker this morning. Edgardo Manahan Año was born in San Mateo, Rizal, Philippines on October 26, 1961. Aba, malapit na pala yung birthday ni Sir. At an early age, he has already manifested his exceptional academic prowess when he graduated elementary as valedictorian. Straight from high school, he entered the Philippine Military Academy and became a member of the PMA Matikas class of 1983, where he graduated as cum laude. During his active military career, he consistently ranked number 1 in all his military courses, either local or foreign. In 1993, Secretary Año finished on top of his class in the International Officer Intelligence Course at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, USA, earning a perfect rating of 100%, a feat that remains unchallenged up to this day. Because of his virtuous reputation, exceptional professionalism, and unquestioned integrity, Secretary Año was entrusted to hold vital military positions, which include being the commander of the Intelligence and Security Group of the Philippine Army, the Chief of the Intelligence Services, Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Commander of the 10th Infantry Division, the 57th Commanding General of the Philippine Army, and eventually the 48th Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. With an eagle-like focus in accomplishing his mission, Secretary Año was instrumental in the neutralization of countless terrorist and communist high-value targets, which ultimately made him a legend in the Philippine intelligence community. Being a devout Catholic, Secretary Año also fervently advocated the value of servant leadership and always gave premium to the importance of teamwork. Under his able leadership, the Armed Forces of the Philippines achieved its highest net satisfaction rating from the populace. And this was demonstrated when he was designated as the martial law administrator in Mindanao during the 5-month-long Marawi crisis, where an influx of support to the Armed Forces of the Philippines was witnessed and felt. In recognition of his outstanding service and work ethics, he has been a recipient of more or less 70 awards, medals, and decorations, both locally and abroad. He received the coveted Philippine Military Academy Cavalier Award in 1996 as an outstanding PMA alumnus in the field of Army operations. He is also a recipient of the Philippine Legion of Honor, degree of Chief Commander, and the prestigious Panglima Gaga Angkatan Tentera that was awarded by no less than His Majesty, the King of Malaysia. Ed, as friends call him, is happily married to the former Miss Jean Jocelyn Maria Arjoso, and they are blessed with 4 children, namely Edwin Jr., Edward, Janelle Marie, and Jasmine Clear. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Secretary Eduardo Manahan Año.
Isang magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Sa ating mga lingkod bayan, mula sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa, sa mga probinsya, syudad, bayan at mga barangay. Sa mga kawani ng DILG at sa mga kasamahan natin mula sa iba't ibang sektor ng lipunan na naglalayong iangat ang antas ng lokal na pamamahala sa ating bansa, mabuhay po kayo. Ako ay lubos na nagagalak na nakasama kayo sa ating pagdiriwang ng ika-30 anibersaryo ng pagsasambatas ng ating local government code. Isang makasaysayang araw para sa ating lahat dahil naging katuwang natin mga lokal na pamahalaan sa paglapit ng mga pampublikong serbisyo sa ating mga kababayan. Truly, with the guidance of our bedrock creed for LGUs, history emblazons the past 3 decades as a season of laying the foundations of local autonomy brick by brick. The wisdom behind its enactment aptly symbolizes the vital role of our local governments in nation building, most especially in today's epoch of ever-growing and ever-complex stressors such as the ongoing pandemic, climate change, terrorism, insurgency, and many more. And indeed, over the recent years, every single one stood witness to how our provincial, city, municipal, and barangay leaders, in adherence to the steering directions of the national government, rose to the occasion to fight these societal challenges head-on. Kaya naman, lubos kong pinapasalamatan ng ating mga pinunong lokal at lingkod bayang puspusang lumaban sa laot ng matinding pagsubok. Salamat sa inyong katatagan at dedikasyon upang manilbihan sa ating sambayan. Sa ating mga LGUs, saludo po ako sa inyong lahat. I would also like to commend our partners in advancing the agenda for good local governance. We are continuously inspired by your dedication to uplift our communities towards the realization of their hopes and aspirations. And in particular, I thank our local government academy under Executive Director Telma Vecina for striving to capacitate and train our local leaderships throughout the years, especially in preparing them to tackle the implementation of the landmark decision of the Supreme Court on Mandanas and Garcia petitions, and the issuance of Executive Order Number 138. These monumental breakthroughs for full devolution are the harbingers for greater and brighter things to come, and thus gives us more reason to equip and empower our LGUs to take on a greater role in shaping the tomorrow of their communities and ultimately that of our country as well. But the path towards our desired future is what we must now reach. With the forthcoming elections next year, I understand that many of you, our local officials, will be engaging in your respective campaigns, either for re-election or for higher office. But as little presidents and as leaders of your communities, the filing of your certificate of candidacies does not yet relinquish you of the duty that you will have to perform until your term has officially expired. And with 2022 fast approaching, we must put all our hands on deck, especially in finalizing every local government devolution transition plans. This very document will determine how well your LGU's transition will be in the coming months and years. We at the national government understand the contention of many of our LGUs, especially those that cannot immediately take on the involved functions and services as contemplated under Section 17 of the Local Government Code. That is why the DILG, through the LGA, in our role as the overseer of all COGDEP interventions for local governments in the country, and join you to come up with your capacity development agenda. Guided by its 6 capacity pillars of structure, knowledge and learning, management systems, enabling policies, competency, and leadership, your COGDEP agenda will chart and reinforce the competency requirements that will help you assume and deliver the services and functions required of your local governments under a full devolution landscape. To support you in this endeavor, the DILG has already begun deploying our coaches to assist and guide you in the formulation of your DTPs and CDAs. I likewise enjoin our local governance regional resource centers to continue engaging our partners in the government and private sectors, the academy, and non-government organizations in order to widen the array of top-depth interventions that will be made available for our LGUs. Allow me also to call on the Honorable Congress to initiate the review and updating of the local government code. If there is an immediate policy support or initiative that will help empower our local governments in this transition to full devolution, it will be an updated LGC that is extensive enough to enable our LGUs to prepare and adapt for any governance challenges that may arise in the days ahead. Let this pandemic be enough for a lesson for us about the importance of foresight and preparation. With more than 200 days left under this administration, there are many things left to do. So the time is prime for us to roll up our sleeves and thrust our hands into the thick of the grind of greater local autonomy. Naway magpakatatag tayong lahat. Alalahanin, narito lamang inyong kagawaran ng interior at lokal na pamahalaan upang gabayan, tulungan at suportahan ang bawat isa sa inyo sa mapagkalinga at maunlad ng mga pamahalaan. Together, let us remain proactive in sharing the accountability and responsibility in instituting good participatory governance throughout the archipelago. Muli, isang makabuluhang at makasaysayang local government month sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po, Secretary Eduardo Anyo, for that message of support and direction coming from the Department of the Interior and Local Government.
Indeed, the department has been blessed with a secretary who has been the stronghold and pillar of the DILG, and the journey towards devolution has been tough, but nevertheless, with the guidance of the DILG, it has brought light to our local government units as they pave their way towards local autonomy. Truly, the local government code has been the Bible of our LGUs, especially now that we need to showcase good local governance in delivering basic services. Now more than ever, especially that we are striving the pandemic. The full devolution is now more realistic because of the unending support and initiative of our LGUs. Once again, we thank our Secretary Anyo, for his inspirational message. Moving forward, to get insights on the core messages and branding of the Angat Lokal campaign for full devolution, as well as to highlight how our LGUs can collectively prepare for full devolution and how it will empower them to deliver better public service in their respective communities. Sir Yat?
Yeah, to formally introduce our next resource speaker from the Department of Budget and Management, may we now have on our screens the Assistant Regional Director of DILG Region 12, ERD Lailin A. Ortiz, CESO 5.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you, Nika. Good morning, Philippines, from all of us here in Soxergen. Our resource person to discuss to us the branding Angat Lokal is the Undersecretary of the Budget Policy and Strategy Group of the Department of Budget and Management. He directly oversees the operations of the Budget Information and Training Service and the Fiscal Planning and Reforms Bureau in its conduct of fiscal policy research and planning, development of fiscal and budgeting frameworks, formulation of annual and quarterly whole of government allotment and cash release programs, and monitoring of macroeconomic developments and their impact on the budget. He currently chairs the Executive Technical Board of the Development Budget Coordination Committee, which reviews and approves the macroeconomic targets, revenue projections, borrowing level, aggregate budget level, and expenditure priorities of the country. He is also the concurrent spokesperson of the department and the chair of Government Procurement Policy Board, or the GPPB. As the lead secretariat for the Philippine Open Government Partnership, or OGP, and the Participatory Governance Cluster, he supervises the department's initiatives that promote fiscal transparency and participatory governance. Relative to the implementation of the Supreme Court ruling on the Mandanas-Garcia case, the Undersecretary has been designated as the chair of the Subcommittee on Communication Strategy. As such, he leads the discussions on how to address misinformation and to harmonize the collaboration of the national and local governments for the effective implementation of the Supreme Court ruling. Graduated from the University of the East in 1984, he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration. He became a certified public accountant a year after and took a program in development economics from the University of the Philippines School of Economics in 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Undersecretary of Budget Policy and Strategy Group of the Department of Budget and Management, the Honorable Rolando U. Toledo, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Director, and good morning to everyone. And thank you for that generous introduction. Maraming salamat po. All right. So, before anything else, allow me to thank the DILG, of course, and the LGA for inviting the DBM of this momentous occasion, especially to Yusek Irian, sir. Okay, magandang umaga po. All right. So it has been 3 decades since we have embarked on the country's devolution journey. And with the Supreme Court ruling on the Mandanas-Garcia petitions and the issuance of Executive Order number 138, which provides for the full devolution of certain functions of the executive branch to the local government, we are given once again a renewed opportunity to foster strong and empowered local governments. All right. So to guide us in the devolution journey, EO 138 provided for the creation of the Committee on Devolution, which is tasked to, among others, oversee the implementation of the EO 138 and develop a strong communication plan. So this morning, I'm privileged to present to you the approved Angat Lokal Communication Plan and Strategy, which has been developed by the Subcommittee on Communication Strategy in consultation with our stakeholders, such as the local government units. Okay, now, but before we go into the details of the communication plan, allow me to briefly introduce first the Subcommittee on Communication Strategy, or Subcommittee from here on, for our communication plan. Okay, so the Subcommittee was created under the Committee on Devolution to ensure strong alignment, synergy, and of course, co-ownership of campaign initiatives among the NGAs. Further, the role of the subcommittee is critical in establishing an alignment platform or mechanism for efficient and effective synergy between the NGAs and LGUs. This alignment platform will better facilitate strategic harmonization and complementation of development priorities while abiding by the principles of subsidiarity and respect for local autonomy. So among our function is to develop comprehensive communication strategy to bridge the information gaps, of course, address misinformation, and improve synergy between national and local government for the full devolution. Okay. Now here, after several consultations with government agencies, local government units, and other stakeholders, which began in 2020, the communication plan of full devolution was officially approved and adopted during the second subcommittee communication strategy held last September 2021. Okay. So for us to appreciate the communication plan and strategies, I'd like to show the roadmap to reform. This has 3 stages, and at the end of the road is the reform, which goes beyond 2023. Okay. So currently, we are at the prepare stage or transition, which focuses on the immediate strategies to facilitate the implementation of the 2022, in 2022 rather. The second stage or implement is the first rollout year of the Devolution Transition Plan or the DTP, which focuses on medium-term goals and monitoring of its implementation. The third and last stage is reform, which is geared towards institutionalizing long-term policy reforms. These reforms are designed to address policy gaps, to improve the autonomy and efficiency of LGUs in delivering goods and services to the people. 2 things I'd like to emphasize here. One, the roadmap shows that this is a long-term initiative that goes beyond the current administration, and we are just getting started. 2, in this initiative, we have an important role to play. Okay, as LGUs are given the rightful share of public funds, the national government agencies strengthen their capacity to monitor, guide, and assess LGUs' exercise of power and autonomy as espoused in the 1991 Local Government Code. Okay, as seen in our roadmap, we have 3 stages, and currently we are at the prepare stage. Note that our communication plan is focused on the approach at the prepare stage or transition as the government gears up for the implementation of the EO. So under the prepare stage, we have 3-stage strategic phase, which is the bridge, align, and engage. Each phase has corresponding programs and activities targeted at key audiences. We are now at the align phase, okay, where we are create platforms or mechanism where national government agencies and local government units can align and cooperate with each other. Here we reach out to other NGAs and local LGUs and key members of the Congress who are potential allies or partners. Okay, now, 2 core communication challenges were identified during our consultation, which started last year, as mentioned, and which we want to address in our communication plan. These are, number 1, disinformation or misinformation and lack of information, especially from the side of LGUs, and lack of synergy between national government agencies and local government units that poses bigger challenges when kept and managed. These core challenges have to be immediately addressed, okay, at the bridge phase. That's why we're having this one. It's important for the NGAs and LGUs to have synergized communication strategy so that when they face their constituents, the public and media, they are able to communicate correct and one cohesive message. Okay, so the National Information Campaign aims to what? Ensure that all target stakeholders are brought on board to carry common message house, as well as to ascertain that communication challenges will be managed and mitigated well. So relative to this, the development of a message house and branding standards are critical tasks, which will help us deliver one cohesive and efficient, effective campaign across all channels and platforms to its intended audience, which is the national government, LGUs, and of course, the public. Ito po yung message house na kinalaf po ng natin, which is really focused on the overarching message that largely centers on advancing capacities of local government units as a frontliner in public service delivery. So the idea is to have the contents of the message house inspire all other communication plans that the NGAs and LGUs will eventually develop. So makikita nyo po at the roof, you can see the two overarching themes of our campaign, Angat Lokal. Yon. These two messages are further explained in 4 core messages with their supporting key messages. All our strategies and communication activities excuse me, will be anchored on this. It will grow as we go along the different stages of roadmap. Okay. So after identifying the core communication challenges, which we mentioned earlier, 2 strategic empathic messaging themes were crafted. They're called the empathic messaging themes because we want to appeal to emotions and encourage collective action from our key audiences. That is the national government, and of course, the local government units, and number 2, the public. Now, for the NGAs and LGUs, our core message is, ito po, let us all aboard in maximizing the opportunity brought by the Supreme Court decision to further empower LGUs through strengthened fiscal autonomy for the improved public service delivery and ensure that no one is left behind. I just want to emphasize lang, for the improved public service delivery and ensure that no one is left behind. Now, for the public, our core message is the implementation of Mandanas-Garcia Supreme Court ruling and EO 138 and its IRR entails what? The rightful share of public funds to be given to the LGUs for the improved delivery of goods and services for the people. Engage and uphold accountability to ensure improve and efficient delivery of these public services at the local level. Yun po yung empathic messages po natin. Now, moving on, the message house is further divided into 4 core messages, which are as follows. Number 1, message 1 is the Supreme Court ruling on the Mandanas-Garcia petition is another milestone in the continuing journey towards genuine local autonomy and empowerment. The ruling clarifies that the just share of LGUs from all national taxes to ensure fiscal decentralization. Message 2, the implementation of the Supreme Court ruling will pave the way to systematic alignment, harmonization, and complementation of NG and LGU priorities that will result to meaningful fiscal and local autonomy of LGUs. I hope na nakukuha po natin yung core messages po. Now, moving to message number 3, beginning 2022, the local government units will have the fiscal resources to provide better public services. And last but not the least, message number 4, the NG or national government is committed to continuously support and guide development challenge local government to ensure that no LGUs is left behind. Okay. Now, as to the branding, to help guide agencies in the developing their IEC materials or information in education campaign, as well as to ensure consistency and uniformity in the overall design of all materials to be released by different parties, we've also developed a brand identity manual. Okay. So here, the campaign brand, Angat Lokal and logo are now ready for release with its corresponding branding guidelines. Okay. So ito po yun. Angat means to rise, progress. lift while local refers to the LGUs, the main stakeholder who will gain from the policy reform. Okay, Angat Lokal thus encapsulates the message that largely centers on advancing capacities of LGUs as frontliners in public service delivery. It also signifies that the national government's commitment to continuously support and guide developing challenged local governments to ensure that no LGU is left behind. Okay. So we have also adopted the LGU hashtags. Nakalagay po dyan, hashtag for devolution and hashtag local autonomy and hashtag local empowerment in reference to the reforms we want to achieve in the campaign. Okay. Now, in supporting this tagline, Tamang Pondo Angat Serbisyo is an overarching message that communicates the gist of the opportunity presented by the Mandanas Garcia Supreme Court ruling. Tamang Pondo refers to the LGU's just and rightful share of the national fiscal resources, while Angat Serbisyo symbolizes the improvement of services. Taken together, Tamang Pondo Angat Serbisyo wholly symbolizes the implications of the Mandanas Garcia rulings implementation, where LGUs will have the Tamang Pondo to provide improved services to their constituents and foster participatory, accountable, responsive, and transparent local governance where no one is left behind. Okay, now the brand identity manual also contains instruction on the color palette, typeface, logo variations, and its proper use, as well as templates for various medium, which shall be used by all parties. Okay. And lastly, this is our timeline of activities that will be undertaken for our communication strategy. Looking at this timeline, I'm sure some of you may ask, where are we now? And we are here, okay? Yan po. We are done with our bridge phase and we are now crossing over to the align phase. Currently, we are developing the IEC materials for our communication campaign, information campaign, our drive, campaign drive, and designing the program for our media training. So the media training is intended to equip our identified representatives from NGAs and LGUs who will serve as our spokesperson to communicate the effective implementation of the Mandanas Garcia ruling. We will be submitting the final communication plan together with various other documents such as the branding guidelines and strategy guide within the week, and we hope our partner national government agencies as well as, of course, the LGUs can start developing their respective communication plan. Further dialogues between the MG and the LGUs will also be pursued, covering the devolution transition plan. Okay, we are hopeful that through this Angat Lokal communication plan, we can help build synergy between and among various stakeholders to move our devolution journey forward. The task may not be easy, alam naman po natin yan, but together, with everyone's support and cooperation, we'll be able to reach our destination. Before I end this presentation, allow me to share with everyone the teaser campaign that we have developed together with our consultant, USID Deliver Project. Thank you and good day. Hans, please. Nawala.
Angat, lokal. Tamang pondo, angat serbisyo.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, maraming salamat po, Undersecretary Rolando Toledo from the Department of Budget and Management for sharing us the Angat Lokal campaign for the full devolution as part of our preparation for the implementation of the Mandanas Garcia Supreme Court ruling released 2022. Indeed, it's very important that as local governance stakeholders, we carry and bear the same messaging on the effects of the Mandanas Garcia Supreme Court ruling. And we carry on with that messaging that no LGU is left behind.
Indeed, our session is getting more interesting, but before we further go to the next topic, we will first have a 5-minute break. So we encourage everyone to grab a coffee or drink as we will be having the various leagues in the leadership dialogue in the next session. So see you in 5 minutes.
All right, welcome back po everyone. Mula Iloilo ay dadalhin namin kayo sa Mindanao to formally start the Leaders Dialogue. And now I turn over the screen to our moderator, Attorney Michelle Ann Viejo from DILG Region 12. Attorney Michelle, you have the floor.
Madamong gid nga salamat, Christian. Maayong aga sa aton tanan. Magandang umaga po. Ako po si Attorney Michelle Ann Viejo, ang inyo pong moderator sa session ngayon. At malugod ko pong binabati ang lahat ng ating kagalang-galang na mga panauhin. Gayon na rin po ang ating mga kalahok ngayong umaga. Welcome po sa ating session, The Leaders Dialogue, Recognizing the Integral Role of Leagues in Good Governance. In this session, we will be hearing lightning talks from our leagues. These talks aim to communicate the valuable contributions of the leagues in building the capacity of its members to become allies of the national government in pursuing good governance. And in keeping with the promise of the local autonomy as enshrined in the Local Government Code of 1991. Furthermore, we want to know the key efforts of the leagues in preparing the LGUs to assume the devolved functions and services from the national government. But before we proceed with the lightning talks from our leagues, allow me to present the mechanics to ensure the orderly conduct of this session. First, each speaker shall be given 7 minutes to share key points based on the objectives of the dialogue. If there are questions or clarifications from our participants, we would like you to raise those and type in sa ating pong mga chat box, and we will list them down for you during the open forum. And now, without further ado, may I have everyone's attention as we start the session. Our first talk is from the Union of the Local Authorities of the Philippines. Our speaker is presently the Provincial Governor of Quirino, the National President of the Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines. He served for 9 years as Congressman, 6 years as Vice Governor, and 3 years as Governor, exemplifying broad experience in both the executive and legislative functions. In Congress, he served as the chairman of House Committees on Ecology and Ways and Means, as well as the senior vice chairperson of House Committees on Appropriations, Economic Affairs, and Constitutional Amendments. He also served as a member for the Majority on Energy, Information, and Communications Technology, among others. Due to his exemplary contributions, he received various awards and achievements, which includes Gawad KKK, Outstanding Youth of the Philippines Award, Most Outstanding Vice Governor of the Philippines, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Honorable Dakila Carlo Dax Kua. Governor.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sa ating pong lahat, naimbag na bigat, kada tayo amin apo, kada umaga. The Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines is the umbrella organization of the leagues of local government units and federations of their local officials, as it serves as platform where all the local development actors converge toward a common cause. Also known as the League of Leagues, it is the strategic conduit and advocacy arm of the composite leagues and in the forefront of the LGUs in discussing local issues with the national government and amplifying local perspectives into policies, programs, and projects at national fora. ULAP was registered with the SEC back in 1998 and recognized under EO 351 series of 2004 for its role in presenting a unified front for its member leagues towards the promotion of good governance and local government autonomy. As such, it serves as a pillar for horizontal consultation at the grassroots, as well as for vertical collaboration with national government agencies, Congress, and development partners to advance collective local perspective into policy formulation and program implementation at the national and even sometimes international stage. Modesty aside, over the years since inception, given the growing recognition of its role in bringing about positive change on the ground, ULAP has emerged as a crucial enabler that wields strong persuasive influence on national decisions, be it in terms of policy reforms, politics, and development. Notably, as a deliberative body, providing recommendations to the national government on matters that hinge on local governance, ULAP has a national executive board that is proudly a representative of the entire spectrum of the subnational government, as the composite member leagues sit to represent a different category of elective local positions. For example, for the provincial governors, sit as representatives of the provinces through the League of Provinces of the Philippines, or LPP. The city mayor for the League of Cities of the Philippines, or LCP. The municipal mayor for the League of Municipalities of the Philippines, or the LMP. And the barangay chairpersons for the Liga ng mga Barangay, or the LNB. The vice governors sit as the League of Vice Governors of the Philippines, or LVGP. The vice mayors for the Vice Mayors League of the Philippines, or VMLP. The board member for the Provincial Board Members League of the Philippines, or PBMLP. Councilors for the Philippine Councilors League, or PCL. The women legislators, or the Local Lady Legislators League, or 4L. And the young legislators, the National Movement of Young Legislators, or NMYL. As you can see, all sectors are represented in our memberships. Towards enabling LGUs to cope with the challenges of good governance, ULAP brings to mind an action framework that was crafted initially to guide its initiatives and interventions in support of the LGUs at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, and which we find still quite relevant as we measure up to the challenges of devolution as provided in EO 138. ULAP Action Framework includes boosting local government capacity and capacity confidence, enabling mechanisms for local national consultation and engagements, amplifying local government perspectives and concerns, and of course, teaming up or working together for collaborative engagements and partnerships. As a complement to the national effort, your ULAP endeavors to provide the venue for information dissemination, knowledge sharing, and capacity building for LGUs in furtherance of our vision to empower local governance. Especially to enable LGUs to cope better amid the pandemic, ULAP has conducted more than 50 online activities in collaboration primarily with the DILG, the DOH, the DepEd, the CHED, ARTA, the Administration's Economic Team of NEDA, DOF, DBM, and DTI, the IATF, MIED, and with support from the other line agencies on managing communities vulnerable to the crisis, retrofitting local recovery and rehab plans, and pumping up the local economy under the new normal. Towards the pursuit of the sustainable goals in the national development, ULAP consciously pursues the expansion of the bandwidth of options for LGUs to engender a departure from the brick and mortar mindset of the past and recast their development agenda along the line of good governance principles and in the mold of the best innovative practices from around the globe, with a lot of help from the private sector, NGOs, CSOs, and international development organizations, and of course, the local government academy. Faced with the crippling impact of the pandemic, COVID-19 virus, and the compounding effect of our country's vulnerability to climate change hazards, ULAP has been pushing for the alternative development approaches, looking far beyond our horizons and incorporating sustainability principles that us LGUs may adopt into local recovery strategies and plans. Kailangan po natin mag-isip outside the box ngayong iba na po ang sitwasyon. In particular, ULAP has been exploring climate resilient pathways to economic growth and inclusive development through the introduction of modern technologies and innovative solutions to reduce carbon emission while promoting resilient economies, ecosystems, and communities. And in doing such, we hope to inspire greater political will among our local development actors to take action now and improve our capacity to bounce back under the new normal even better. In cooperation with the concerned national government agencies and stakeholders, we intend to conduct activities that will build the capacity and capability of LGUs to enable us to measure up to the challenges of full devolution. The contemplated topics are as follows: rudiments of the devolution transition plan formulation, including planning, budgeting, and investments promotion, local resource mobilization tools to augment funds and reduce dependence on NTA, and the ease of doing business and technological innovations to reboot our economy. Models of improved public service delivery, in the context of fiscal decentralization, LGU CSO partnership for effective governance. Kailangan po natin ng CSOs in our fight to reboot our economy. The inter-LGU competitiveness and the Go Local, Buy Local program. The intergovernmental cooperation and collaboration and the Growth Equity Fund concept and legislation. It is towards the pursuit of full autonomy for local government units as enshrined in the Fundamental Law of the Land or the 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 2, Section 25, that ULAP hopes to help transform LGUs into self-reliant, resilient communities and potent, effective partners in nation building and national development. In the final analysis, tulad lang po ng sinabi ng IATF, as it has come to realize as a guiding principle going through the current health crisis, ULAP believes that to be truly growth-oriented and every development effort should be national government-enabled, LGU-led, and people-centered. We hope that as we go through this new fiscal regime in the spirit of bayanihan, local national handholding will continue until we have achieved the desired benefits of full devolution vis-a-vis the just share of the national revenue for local government. Maraming salamat po muli. Mabuhay po tayong lahat at happy 30th anniversary to Local Government Code. Maraming salamat po.
Madamong gid nga salamat, Governor Kua. And what a way to start from the League of Leagues. Indeed, in your presentation, we have seen the League thriving and adjusting with the tides of time. Governor, we are one with you. As you quoted earlier, we are one with you with LGUs into a self-reliant, resilient communities and potent, effective partners in nation building and national development. Madamong gid nga salamat. Thank you very much once again, Governor Kua. Ngayon naman po, we will be hearing from the League of the Provinces of the Philippines. Our speaker is a dedicated public servant. For 35 years, he has been in service, both in private and government service, in the legislative and the executive branches at both the national and the local government levels. The first executive director of ULAP since its inception in 1997 up to 2005. Executive Director of the League of the Philippines, Provinces of the Philippines from 1996 to 2005 and from 2016 up to the present. Currently, he is studying his Juris Doctor at the Arellano University School of Law. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Honorable Sandra Paredes, Executive Director of the LPP.
Thank you. I'm not the governor. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Governor Kua, good morning po. Our LPP National President, Marinduque Governor Presbytero J. Velasco Jr., who was one of the Associate Justices then, who wrote the concurring decision of the Supreme Court in the Mandanas-Garcia Consolidated Petitions, would like to extend his greetings. It's unfortunate, though, that he cannot join us today for this forum, which happens only once every 30 years, as said by our LPP Chairman and ULA President, Governor Dax Kua of Quirino. So allow me to represent our 81 governors in this forum. Our brief topic is the role of the leagues in devolution and good governance. So just a brief history of the leagues to give a proper perspective of our transitioning into what the LPP is right now. So in the early 1950s, appointed presidential representatives to city and provincial governments have already organized themselves into an organization to push for reforms and lobby for the passage of the proposed local autonomy bill. In 1957, the local autonomy bill was passed and paid for the election of local government officials who organized themselves into a league. And with the passage of Barrio Charter, recognizing the barrio as a unit of local government, the organization of local government officials expanded. The organization campaigned for real power and authority and for material resources needed to govern and deliver services. So the organization then participated in the determination of the Internal Revenue Allotment, or IRA. And with the issuance of PD 144 in 1973, the participation of local government officials in decisions ceased. The Ministry of Budget was given the sole power to set the level of national support to LGUs. This situation further undermined by centralist policies issued between 1972 to 1986, and more than 500 decrees, letters of instruction, orders, and executive directives and memoranda affecting local governments were issued by then President Ferdinand Marcos. One granted the power to appoint local government officials and extend their terms of office indefinitely. Eventually, President Marcos reorganized the League of Local Government Officials to support this policy. Along with the Pambansang Katipunan ng mga punong bayan sa Pilipinas in 1976, the League of Governors was formally organized. And following the EDSA uprising, the League was revitalized through the issuance of Executive Order 262 by President Aquino, or the Administrative Code. The directive provided for the creation of separate leagues, the League of Provinces, the League of Cities, Municipalities, and Barangays. After the ratification of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, the League was formally established with the adoption of its own charter. We have our own charter in dating May 25, 1988. So when the Congress was inaugurated, the period saw the active participation of the League in drafting the new local government code. And on October 10, 1991, the new code was signed into law. I was then part of the Senate, having served former Senator Joey Lina, who later on became the founding president of ULAP when he was governor of Laguna. So Section 502 of the 1991 Local Government Code recognized and institutionalized the League of Provinces of the Philippines as a forum to articulate issues affecting the provinces and to provide and propose solutions to these concerns. So the internal organization of the leagues of LGUs is governed by our respective constitution and bylaws, which are made suppletory to the provision of the code. So hence, let us be clear that the league is sui generis. We are a league of our own. Just like similar organizations abroad, the leagues serve as the check and balance, and therefore the LGUs, through its leagues, can independently raise its own position on several government issues and concerns. We do not receive an annual subsidy from the national government, and we raise our own funds. So since then, the League has consistently demonstrated our vision and mission to promote fiscal and local autonomy of all local governments, not just the provinces, and sternly lobbied against all proposed bills which undermine decentralization efforts and which threaten to cut, withhold, or lower the IRA, which is now referred to as the NTA, or the National Tax Allotment. And with the landmark decision of the Supreme Court on the Mandanas-Garcia petitions, we were overjoyed, and we look forward to a correct determination of the national tax base and a more accurate and transparent computation of the LGU's just share from the national taxes. We have formally raised also the need for the mandatory publication of the DOF or DBCC guidelines on the NTA computation before it is even considered to be valid, as required under Article 2 of the Civil Code as amended by Executive Order 200, the NTA being a matter of public interest. And just to give an idea, that before the code, the LGUs were receiving an average of only 3.7 billion a year, or a measly 6.4% of the budget. And when the code was passed, it put to life the constitutional provision mandates, which ensured the local and fiscal autonomy of LGUs. So in 1992, LGUs started to receive a 30% share from the taxes, or about 20 billion at the time. And although almost all of the functions of basic services were devolved to LGUs at that time, the national government still retained and controlled a huge chunk of the financial resources. And from 1991 to 2000, the average era of LGUs increased to 61 billion, or 15% of the budget. And from 2001 to 2010, it grew to 96 billion. From 2011 to 2020, it grew to 430 billion, or 15% of the budget. This year, the era is at 659 billion, or 15% of the budget. But with the implementation of the Supreme Court decision, DOF estimates that the NTA is now at 959 billion, or 19% of the GA. Congressman Ed Chato is correct in saying that the decision did not rule nor did it require the full devolution or transfer of NGA's projects, programs, and activities as what the EO 138 provides. Recently, the League of Provinces, just for your information, Governor Velasco wrote the President and the DOF with regard to our NTA share in 2022. The League believes that this computation is still short of some 136 billion due to some invalid deductions from the national taxes collected in 2019, which may not be in accord with the Supreme Court's final decision, which ruled, and I quote, Congress can validly exclude taxes that will constitute the base amount for the computation of the era only if a constitutional provision allows such exclusion. So we also have our own hashtag, hashtag nataas na, hashtag natama na, hashtag natagalan lang by 30 years. But so recently, the League has also written Congress to implement this decision by no longer including the LGU's NTA in the GAA, notwithstanding the fact that DBM has already submitted this 959 billion amount to Congress for 2022. But allow me to take this opportunity to quote the decision of the Supreme Court verbatim. The 1987 Constitution is forthright and unequivocal in ordering that the just share of the LGUs in the national taxes shall be automatically released to them. With Congress having established the just share through the LGC, it seems to be beyond debate that the inclusion of the just share of the LGUs in the annual GAs is unnecessary, if not superfluous. Hence, the just share of the LGUs in the national taxes shall be released to them without need of yearly appropriation. So this is currently the priority issue that the League is continuously advocating, aside from the other equally important issues confronting us today, particularly with the COVID-19 pandemic, where there seems to be a modified supervision over LGUs. So for 2022 and beyond, we are steadfast in our commitment to protect the gains that we have achieved for devolution and decentralization, and to continue to be an effective partner of the national government and an effective forum for intervention and a rich source of information to help ensure progressive policies and programs for the national government in pursuing good governance. So thank you for giving us an opportunity to raise our valid concerns during the 30th celebration of the LG Code. We are here to serve not just our provinces, but all our LGUs, the national government, in coordination with all stakeholders. Maraming salamat po and good morning.
Thank you, Ma'am Sandra. Indeed po, it is reassuring to hear that our LPP is there to safeguard the welfare not only of the provinces or for the provinces, but all the LGUs as well. Rightly so, hashtag nataas na, hashtag natama na. Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Sandra, for gracing our event this morning. And now, we shall proceed with the LCP, or the League of Cities of the Philippines. Our speaker is a Man of the Year, Asia's Leaders Awards 2019, which was held at Makati Shangri-La Hotel, November 2019. He is the lone representative of LGUs in the country to the highest consultative and advisory body to the President Rodrigo R. Duterte on economic and development matters. He is the national president of the League of Cities of the Philippines from 2019 up to 2022, the Deputy Secretary General for Visayas from 2016 to 2019, the National Executive Vice President from 2010 to 2013, the National Vice Chairman from 2007 to 2010, the Deputy Secretary General for Visayas from 2004 to 2007, and the Vice President for Visayas from 1995 to 1998. He was a representative in the World Summit of Local and Regional Leaders held in Durban, South Africa in 2019, and at the Korea Foundation Program for Political Affairs in Seoul, South Korea. He served at various positions in the local government unit from 1995 up to the present. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you Mayor Edilio Bing R. Yunardia. Sir?
Hi, thank you. And thank you for that very kind introduction. Although I must admit that that sort of confused or even scared me because you introduced me like I were the keynote speaker here. Okay, so the truth of the matter is due to some miscommunications, I was just called by our executive director Viron to be here in this platform just now. Thank you so much, nevertheless, and it's great to be part of this. And of course, the portion of the program I was able to catch was when Sandy was speaking. It was not the whole speech of Sandy, but she was so eloquent that made me think that after Sandy had spoken, what more is there to say? And that's how it is with Sandy. And anyway, so be that as it may I just be privileged to greet Governor Dax. I understand he is still there. I cannot see him, but he's the official idol of the the female local chief executives. Governor Dax, I hope you're still there. And Yusek Marlon and Yusek Toledo of the DBM. And I don't know if Mayor Arlene is still there, the muse of the LCP. And I understand former Mayor and future Senator Herbert Bautista is also with us. So be that as it may, I have this arrangement with Veron that she handles the technicals. I'm supposed to say hello. Okay, so I'm glad I'm at least a part of this because this is about our local government code. This is about local governance, and we are celebrating the 30 years that we had enjoyed, and I use the word enjoyed purposely because truly we had enjoyed the fruits of this piece of legislation. I must give credit to those framers of this piece of legislation that changed almost so many things for us in the local in the cities, municipalities, and the provinces. Of course, I think if I have to single out one of the features that really has changed our lives, quote unquote, is the era concept. I think when the national government recognized that there should be a fixed, definite, and clear share of the local governments in the pie of the government's income. I think that is what has given us this momentum. I remember then the former DILG Secretary Mel Sarmiento, when he was still Secretary General of the League of Cities of the Philippines, and he would argue that the local government code has indeed changed us all. And saying that it's not just about the people, it is also about the structure. So give them the structure, give them this share of the income, and let them be to themselves, and good things will happen. And that is what precisely had happened during the past 30 years. When we had our own financial independence to that extent, then we saw how the local governments flourish. And all these years, we've seen that the LGUs had been a, a very significant and substantial contribution to our nation building. So that is why I said earlier that I took this chance to be here at this opportunity, in fact, if I may call it so, because I know that this is of great significance for us. The local government code is what has changed the ball game, so to speak. This has been a great game changer that has propelled us to where we are today. So we look forward as the evolution continues, and we are now in that stage where we have to go through full devolution. All our leagues are getting ready for that. On the part of the LCP, we have held general assemblies and a series of meetings to be in touch, or to be able to be abreast with what is happening and from the on a national scale. So we hope that this anniversary, or this observance of the anniversary, will keep us reminded, and will keep us be aware all the time that the local government code has provided us so much. So, as it is said in the Bible, to whoever much is given, much is expected. So we're here to see to it that we will be able to live up to the expectations of our people. Good morning to each and every one of you. Mayang aga in our dialect, Ilonggo.
Mayong aga man, Mayor.
Ilongga ka?
Wala niya salamat.
Ilongga ka gali?
Ilongga kami, Mayor, from DILG Region 12. Madamo nga salamat. Thank you, Mayor.
Salamat, Jade. Tali lang, Ilonggo na lang kung daan all the way.
Hindi po nila maiintindihan. But once again po, Mayor, maraming salamat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mayor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our next speaker. She is the Executive Director of the League of Cities of the Philippines. She is actively involved in policy discussions on national issues affecting city government administration and governance. She has advocated various issues that yielded positive results for LCP in the areas of environment, social welfare, urban development, finance, and governance. As Executive Director, she is the official representative of the cities on different national task forces, interagency groupings, and multi-sectoral working groups. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Maria Veronica C. Hetosis, Executive Director.
Madam.
Thank you. My boss already spoke, Madam. So I think just to articulate what also Mayor being highlighted on the role of the League of Cities of the Philippines, and to tie in on what Governor Dax Kua mentioned and what Sandy mentioned, we remain faithful. After 30 years, the leagues remain faithful to the role as articulated in Section 499 of the Local Government Code. We're here to articulate, ventilate, and crystallize issues affecting governance and administration. So, after 30 years, Mayor Bing, may game sila, boss, kanina pa. Ilang taon daw tayo bago ipasa yung Local Government Code. So, I think Mayor Bing was 16 years old because Governor Dax is 17 years now. So, but on a more serious note, I think na highlight naman na po ni Governor Dax at ni Mayor Bing, we bridge the information gap. We're here to serve our members. Sabi nga ni boss, So yung how we did that or how we're doing that through the years is very important. So kung available po yung information locally, nationally, or internationally, that's why the representation of Mayor being in various global conferences is very important, because we bring those information back to our members for them to be more abreast on how good governance should really unfold with the mandanas, without the mandanas, and given the limited resources of our LGUs. So, utilize din po natin yung leagues, Madam. We absorb the coordination cost, whether it's the cities to the national government agencies and vice versa. So, for the furtherance of local autonomy, the local government leagues, tinatawag po tayo ulit ngayon, sina Boss, sina Governor Kua, si Mayor Bing, Governor Velasco, and mamaya si Ma'am Eden, na we rise up to the occasion. So medyo proverbial yung comment ni Boss Bing Leonardia on from much is given, much is expected. And I think the local government leagues for the past 30 years have been doing that. So I don't want to take much time because my boss is here. So thank you for the opportunity, and we will continue. Sabi nga ni Boss, we will continue to advocate for the welfare of Philippine cities, and we will continue to work with the ILG on improving local governance across the board. So thank you and good morning.
Thank you very much, Mayor Bing, once again, and Madam Edie Veron. May we request a virtual round of applause for Mayor Ed and Mayor Bing rather, and Ma'am Veron, please, everyone. Maraming salamat po. It is also reassuring na meron po nag-articulate, ventilate ng issues in governance sa atin po with our local government units. Thank you. And now, we shall proceed with the League of the Municipalities of the Philippines. Our speaker is presently the Mayor of Barcelona in Sorsogon Province. She is a lawyer who served as public prosecutor in the city of Manila and Quezon City, where she also taught criminal procedure in law schools. She was a city trial court judge of Sorsogon City until she became a mayor in 2019. She is the Secretary General of the League of the Municipalities of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, may I proudly introduce Attorney Cynthia Falcotelo Fortes. Attorney.
Thank you, ma'am. Yusek Iringan, Congressman Chato, ladies and gentlemen of LGA, DILG, and DBM, the presidents of the leagues, everyone on board, magandang araw po. There are 4 points I am tasked to articulate on. One is LMP contributions in building the capacity of its members to become allies of the national government. Records of LMP, National Secretariat, LMP serves as an active partner of the national government in the formulation of and in cascading PPAs to target municipalities. Amid this raging pandemic, to respond to it, and with Mayor Chavez Singson at the helm, LMP actualized its avowed vision to meaningfully link member municipalities to NGAs and vice versa. LMP's National Secretariat touch-based and worked on the ground. It distributed its own version of ayuda to members, from food items and non-food essentials, clothing, to PPEs and hand sanitizers, thus enabling said municipalities to deliver COVID response service to residents. On the other end, and rewind to early months of 2020, with the looming nationwide pandemic lockdown, LMP flexed its empathy muscle. It helped NGAs, municipalities, and higher and lower LGUs in transporting back home locally stranded individuals. Free bus rides from Manila to far-flung destinations in Mindanao were provided by LMP. Administratively, through LMP's General Assembly held in March 2020, the ongoing regional planning, and in the regular National Directorate and Executive Committee virtual meetings, LMP leadership consistently focuses on NGA municipalities' meaningful linkage. Content of these meetings and the guest list are proof of that. LMP regional meets and online meetings are graced by the Department of Interior and Local Government, Department of Budget and Management, Department of Agrarian Reform, the SHUD, Department of Labor and Management, DOH, and the Commission on Elections, with their respective regional directors at hand to promptly act on concerns expressed by municipal mayors. LMP National Secretariat, through its plans, programs, and project department, is proactive in exploring public and private partnerships to aid member municipalities in the spaces of capacity development and impact. Second, key efforts of LMP pertaining to the implementation of the Mandanas-Garcia ruling. As we all know it, Mandanas-Garcia ruling has a long history, case history. It is on record that even prior to the filing of the initiatory petition in that case, LMP dished out an official stand on the correct computation of LGU's just share in the national taxes, with demand to give to LGUs what is due them. With the ruling or the decision final in nature, and with EO 138 in the offing, LMP, in the countless online meets it participated in, cautioned LGUs to not mistake the forest for the trees, that the supposed manna from heaven comes with added deliverables for LGUs. LMP urged its members to look at the bigger picture. LMP pushed for contextualization of LGUs as they vary in character, resources, capabilities, and needs. A one-size-fits-all cut won't do. LMP saw the gaps, the disparities, and the need for an equalization fund to even the playing field for poorer LGUs, to not deny them of a fair chance at tangible development. LMP even issued a National Directorate statement of support to the proposed amendment of the 1987 Constitution introduced by the Constitutional Reform Movement, which aims to strengthen the fiscal autonomy of LGUs with the Mandanas-Garcia ruling as underpinning. On the plate now is amendment of certain provisions in the local government code to make the code responsive to the ebb and flow of situations. On the crafting of DTPs, municipal and barangay DTPs, our chapter presidents participate in the rollout and in upskilling concerned chief of offices and barangay officials. In this jurisdiction, we have met the timeline for BDTPs. Municipal DTPs are on deck until November 10. Third, LMP's role in preparing municipalities in assuming phased devolved functions. In September 2020, when the draft of EO13 released to the leagues for comments, LMP pointed out the gaping wedge between the cost of delivering devolved services and the uptick in ATA. LMP did not overlook the divide between the ruling's dispositive portion, sans full devolution, and the looming in the functions to be devolved and the role of NGAs after devolution. Now, the way EO 138 IRR is written, these two fronts are covered. LMP recognizes and accords due deference to the strengths and weaknesses of municipalities. LMP embraces the reality that there are differently abled municipalities. LMP begs to differ to the marginalizing labeling SR is slowpoke municipalities. Actualization of the Growth Equity Fund by Congress and access to NGA's Performance Fund LGUs as enablers are what LMP focuses on. Of late, in the latest National Directorate virtual meet, LMP worked out a process flow with the Bureau of Fire Protection to ensure that municipalities with existing fire station but without fire truck and vice versa get to fix the rather weird disconnect. Fourth, the League, as member of the Committee on Devolution and its role in the crafting of communication strategy. LMP would like to think that with its active role prior to the signing of EO 138 and the of its resolution. For LMP, proper messaging to the people and the municipalities ranks high. For municipalities to embrace full devolution wholeheartedly and deliver services without foot dragging, getting across the right message at the right time is the thing. Hence, in the ComDev and subcommittee meetings on communications strategy, LMP put on record that communication materials and in the rollout, the Mandanas-Garcia ruling vis-a-vis EO 138 should be put in context without giving the people exaggerated and bloated hopes. and without discriminating poorer LGUs in this way. I quote that in beginning 2022, LGUs, regardless of income classification, have the fiscal resources to better their services. I saw it earlier, it has been reworded, but if you please, let's rephrase that to avoid exaggerated and bloated hopes and do away with the all-encompassing anti-LGU assumption that all of them, all LGUs, even those LGUs that broke glass ceilings in the delivery of services, especially in these pandemic times, aren't good enough. That said, maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mayor Cortez. Your message is reverberating. Indeed po, your role from COVID-19 response to DTP preparations to policy recommendations has come a long way, and we know that your aspirations, you will continue to push for your aspirations in the coming years, especially with the food devolution. Maraming salamat po, Mayor. Ngayon naman po, dadako tayo sa ating Liga ng mga Barangay. And to speak to us this morning as regards their aspirations is the National President of the Liga ng mga Barangay. She is a member of the largest untapped reservoir of talent in the world, as Hillary Clinton would put it, as I. She is a mother to 3 doting children. Our next speaker is a woman of unwavering courage, determination, and astounding vision. Having imbibed the culture of competence, she is a living testament to how women can make it in a society often dominated by male leaders. A renowned public servant, acknowledged philanthropist, and school administrator, my dear friends, the National President of the Liga ng mga Barangay, the Honorable Eden Pineda. Ma'am?
Hi. Thank you for the introduction. So, in celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Local Government Code, I would like to recognize the efforts of the Department of Interior and Local Government together with the Local Government Academy in conducting the Philippine Local Governance Forum 2021 with the theme, The Wonders of Devolution, 30 years of strong and empowered local governments.
Yes, boss.
With the leaders' dialogue, recognizing the integral role of leagues in good governance, the Liga ng mga Barangay sa Pilipinas is working on the important roles of values in barangay governance and development. It is concerned with its constituents and the social system by which they organize their activities to satisfy basic mutual needs like food, water, clothing, and non-material wants or education, knowledge, and spiritual fulfillment. The very concepts of barangay governance and development represents implicit as well as explicit value premises about desirable goals for achieving the realization of human potential. Considering the perspective character of the Mandanas ruling, the concepts or goals such as economic and social equality, the elimination of poverty, universal education, rising levels of living, rule of law, access to opportunity, political and economic preparation, grassroots democracy, and self-reliance must be considered for every barangay. We have 3 focal points of the Liga ng mga Barangay which we are now focusing. First, the Liga ng mga Barangay sa Pilipinas has been conducting education and training on good governance in the field of barangay leadership, participation, and consensus-oriented management. It has also provided technical orientation on enforcement of transparency, accountability, and responsiveness of program delivery. It has also dealt with efficiency in the content of good governance that covers the sustainable use of material resources, natural resources, and the protection of the environment. 2, the key efforts of the Liga ng mga Barangay in preparing to assume devolved function and services is to prepare the barangay in the implementation for the standards for delivery of devolved services and the capacity development. We are also working on the organizational effectiveness to strengthen the barangay in assuming functions as part of the devolution efforts. Third, the barangay can become a strategic instrument in developing a stronger capacity development strategies, facilitate institutionalization of the performance standard, and incentive mechanism. In order to ensure continuity in the efficient and effective delivery of services in the barangay, capacity development interventions should be offered as a means of institutional strengthening. In the recent years, we have increasingly focused on the important implication of the Supreme Court Mandanas ruling to develop a stronger and empowered local government, which include the barangay, in its effort to augment the basic services and facilities to our constituents. The operative principles of decentralization shall guide the formulation of policies and measures of good barangay governance. We know in the barangay that being effective and efficient is a matter of choice. When we fully focus, we are able to deliver. It is never about how difficult a situation is. It is about how focused we are on things that really matters. What you do in the barangay does not define you. How you do it does. If you preserve, give all your best, and the most of every opportunity to serve, that will always make you look better as a leader, regardless of your chosen path. Let me end this with an ancient proverb of China. Each generation shall reap what the former generation has sown. Thank you and good morning to all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Eden Pineda. And that concludes and completes our speakers. Tama lamang po dahil nag-end tayo with the Liga ng mga Barangay. It is not how difficult, but how focused we are. Tama po, Madam Pineda. So with that po, ladies and gentlemen, that completes our set of lightning speakers and talks for this morning. And now, we shall proceed with our open forum. So may I request everyone, lahat po ng ating mga speakers from the leagues this morning, may I now invite you to please turn on your cameras. And we encourage our participants to please type in your questions in the Zoom chat box. And we will be reading them for you. Ayan po, naka-turn on na po ang lahat ng ating mga speakers for this morning. Of course, so ayan na po, we have our first question set before us this morning po. So our first question, our comments and clarifications that were gathered from our Zoom chat boxes po. So first question, this is addressed to, ito po ay address po para sa lahat. So everyone can answer sa atin pong first question. Okay, our first question is, what are the lessons you have learned which you think should be improved with the advent of the Mandanas-Garcia petitions? So yun po ang unang tanong po sa ating mga panelists for this morning. Sa ating mga leagues, what are the lessons you have learned which you think should be improved with the advent of the Mandanas-Garcia petition? So from our speakers, would anyone care to answer first? Sino po ba sa ating mga... If I may request, uunahin na po ba natin with your permission? From the ULAP po, meron po kaya si Governor Dax na ma-share na yung mga leksyon na nakuha natin that would be able to improve with the advent of the Mandanas-Garcia petitions. Governor,
thank you, ma'am. Let me try my best to answer the very profound question. Siyempre sa ating dagdag pondo brought about by the ruling of the Supreme Court, we and the people expect better services, diba? But if one thing that the pandemic has taught me personally is that no man and no LGU is an island, and we really need to work together. And even if we have more resources, collaboration and working together will really be key in development and uplifting the lives of our people. Kaya nga po, napakahalaga ng role ng ating mga liga, lalong-lalo na itong mga LGU leagues natin, yung LNB, LMP, LCP, and LPP. Because through those leagues, we can forge partnerships, strategic collaboration to help one another rise above the challenges, not only of the COVID pandemic, but also of fiscal challenges. We expect that 2023 might probably bring less resources than 2022 NPA shares dahil sa less collections ng ating mga national government collection agencies. That's why we will need to be more creative and prudent in the coming years. And collaboration will be one of those ways that we can help each other. So I don't know if I was able to correctly answer the question, but thank you for the question po.
Thank you po. Governor Dax, would our other resource speakers from the leagues would like to also answer that profound question as Governor Dax Tua would put it? Meron pa po ba tayong mga gustong ma-share? Nakikita ko po natatawa si Ma'am Beron. Ma'am Beron, would you like to share any input lang po from that question?
Madam, nagsagot na siya ni Governor Dax. Kaya kami tumatawa kasi I think that's how you nicely put it. The Bandanas-Garcia ruling, there's an assumption that there are more resources coming, but the challenges keeps on increasing. I think that's new public management 101 for all of us. And just like what the predicate of this event has already parang shared, diba? So with the mounting challenges, given the additional resources, the expectations are getting higher. And with the election season next year, it puts, ano siya talaga, madam, may opportunities, may challenges, may kaba, pero may excitement kami sa mga cities na where we will be giving services at least at par or at least near to the expectations of our constituencies. So may mga ganon. So yun, madam, ano siya, mixed emotions, but we will continue to advocate again for our members, just like what Governor Dax mentioned. And so yung confluence nung technical with that LGA, Local Government Academy, with the ILG, with the political nung various local government leagues, and us as middlemen, yung local government associations, bridging those gaps will be very important as we all work towards a better service delivery for people living in the Philippines, in our country. Sorry, nag-smile kami, ma'am, but kinakabahan kami at na-excite kami, attorney. Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am Veron. Indeed, it is an exciting years ahead with the full devolution. So, with that po, we shall proceed with our next question. Our next question,
Sorry.
yes, Ma'am Sandy, meron din po kayong ma-input po or share?
I-emphasize ko lang yung sinabi ni Veron. Medyo happy kami na challenging talaga pero mixed feeling kasi as what Congressman Chato said, he witnessed in the congressional deliberation ng budget na yung mga programs, projects, and activities ng NGEs, hindi na nila in-include sa budget nila for 2022. Those devolved functions, functions already devolved to LGUs under Section 17 ng Code. And so, one realization that we have with the Mandanas-Garcia ruling is that kailangan continuous kaming leagues na magbantay sa papaano ito kino-compute. Especially because this is a maiden competition, and if we don't persevere, then there is this problem that it will compound again for the succeeding years kung merong shortfalls na naman. And so we would like to be very vigilant talaga, and we would like to take a more active role in the computation because there is I would like to emphasize that there is a provision in the civil code that any law or regulation guidelines that are matters of public interest, kailangan may required publication. This is the process, the due process provision in the Constitution, where the stakeholders must be duly consulted in the drafting of this guideline, particularly on the drafting of the guidelines of the NTA computation. We really need a very active role there, even before the BIR or the BOC certifies. Kasi parang once na-submit na yung amount, parang wala na kaming habol. Parang ganun ang lumalabas. But we'd like to take a very active role there. Like I said, in 2022, parang 136 billion yung kulang. And billion yun And that is 16% of the gross taxes collected. Whereas before the Supreme Court decision, only 3% of the gross ang binabawas. Ngayon, 16%. So we really have to be very vigilant. And we submitted our official position already to the President and to the Department of Finance to really to really review this computation para hindi magko-compound siya in future years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Sandy. Alam ko po meron tayong DBM dito ngayon, and I hope we also have other national government agencies na nakarinig po ng input ni Ma'am Sandy. Thank you, Ma'am Sandy. And with that po, shall we proceed with our next question this morning? So our next question can also be answered by anyone from our guests. That is, what are the strategic directions of the leagues under the full devolution? So alam ko po may mga discussions na earlier, but if you would allow us po to highlight po, if you may highlight po yung mga strategic directions to be able to address this question. Anyone from the group who would like to start first?
Madam. Sige.
Yes. Ma'am Veron, thank you.
Madam, sa strategic for LCT, what we do is yung mga devolution transition plans sa national government agencies. We try to share it with our members. So we finished DSWD, DOH, and then we shared yung joint memorandum circular ng DILG. Last July, yun yung minention ni Mayor Bing earlier. And this month, we're doing the Department of Tourism. And hopefully, kahit kalahati or majority ng national government agencies, devolution transition plans, ma-share namin sa mga cities. Kasi iba-iba talaga yung appreciation nila on their role as regards the Mandana. So, if you look at the governance continuum, chine-check, di ba, meron yung advanced na, di ba, meron yung mga nag-start pa lang. Ang trabaho talaga ng league, balance yun eh. Whether you're from Luzon, farthest city from Luzon and farthest city from Mindanao. Kung ano yung alam na information ng city from those farthest areas, alam dapat lahat ng cities na 146 in our case. And I think for the national government, that's why importante yung role ng Liga when we said that you have to absorb the coordination cost. Hindi kasi kaya ng DILG or ng DBM, 'di ba, na lahat, 'di ba, maramihan. So yung focused intervention, the leagues can cater to that. Yun yung kasi iba nga. So kasi kabisado namin yung mga miyembro namin, alam namin yung pareho tayo nagsasalita ng English or Hiligaynon in your case, Madam, sa Region 12. Pero iba yung delivery kasi you have to talk to them doon sa yung importance noon. O lilink mo siya sa basic service provision po, mayor or governor or barangay captain or councilor. Ganito po yung ibig sabihin. Kasi you have to link it to a more focused thing that will resonate with them. Minsan kasi pag sorry ha, mahal namin yung DILG, pero minsan pag naglabas ng MC, di ba, assume na lang nabasa na lahat. Kahit naman English, iba kasi, kailangan mo talaga i-connect. I think that's why the leagues are here. So, minsan, specific section, yun lang i-discuss for 2 hours. And yun yung importance ng information. Knowledge is not power if the knowledge that you get is not the correct knowledge. So, correct knowledge is power. So I hope that's what the leagues are really in the case of LCP we're focusing on right now. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Ma'am Veron. Ayan po. Ma'am Sandy, are you also raising your hand? Tama po ba?
Yes, oo. Strategic directions. Alam niyo naman yung president namin ngayon, former Supreme Court Justice. So medyo we are also focusing into the legalities of these policies, no? One is meron din kaming pending request sa presidente to defer the implementation of the presidential proclamation on the 2020 census. Oo, kasi yung legal basis nun is anchored on the general provision of the budget that any valid adjustment, no? But for it to be valid, it has to conform to existing laws. And there is a provision in the local government code implementing rules and regulations na DBM shall inform the LGUs not later than June 15. So after June 15, dapat wala nang changes. Yun ang nakalagay sa batas na pinasa ng Kongreso. So yun yung mga aming strategic directions to assist our member leagues in their on legal matters, as well as sharing of best practices, but mainly on national policies that affect LGUs.
Thank you, Ma'am Sandy. Would anyone else from our guests po? Yes, I can see Executive Director Loriaga, ma'am. You also raised your hand po.
Yes. For the LMP naman, it was mentioned kanina din ng aming Secretary General yung ginagawa ng LMP for our members sa pag-disseminate. So ongoing pa rin yung regional planning, and our regional planning is face-to-face with our municipal mayors. And isa sa agenda sa program ng aming regional planning, nag-invite kami, no? Like si Yusek Iringan, lagi po namin ay invite to discuss devolution, and also from DBM as well. We always invite them during our regional planning. So same with LCP and LPP, no, yung dissemination ng mga leaks sa aming mga members, very important yan, and yun yung isa sa pinaka malakas na strength ng mga leaks, dahil kami ay kilala po namin yung members namin, and we really do have direct contact with our members. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So, okay, last question na lang po. Tapos na kasi yung mga questions natin from the chat boxes. I believe we have local government units, we have local officials, we have other stakeholders who are also joining us via Zoom today. So may we just ask for a message that our leagues would like to give as an ender po of this open forum, of this lightning talks and this session. May I request yung ating mga resource speakers, any words po for our participants, LGUs and other stakeholders. So may I start, Ma'am Sandy, may I start with you po? Any words of encouragement or wisdom or any for our participants po?
Yes. Of course, we encourage the participation of all our member LGUs, because in order to arrive at a consensus, every one of them, each of them must be consulted. And it's difficult to say that for our national government agencies, we know that you also conduct consultations with specific LGUs, but sometimes not all LGUs share the same position. So we have to come up with a consensus, and through the leagues, we build that consensus. And sa ULAP, we advocate those consensus policies that we all agree upon, and we push for that. So tuloy lang po tayo ng vigilance natin and perseverance. We are very supportive of our national government, of course, under the leadership of President Duterte, and we are here to serve, all our LGUs, and let us know how you feel, how we can be of help to you, so that we can effectively advance those concerns to the respective national government agencies concerned. Yun. Thank you and happy Ako nga pala, 30 years old ako nung napasa yung code. O yan, Verona.
Thank you, Ma'am Sandy. Thank you, Ma'am Sandy. And now we also request, or maybe hear a message from Ma'am Veron. Hitosis, Ma'am.
Thank you. Yun din yung message namin. Ako magkakailangan ko sa mga boss ko, nag-dial in, si Mayor Arlene, kanina nag-hi na si Mayor Bing, no? Naka-dial in din yung mga cities namin sa Las Piñas, Palayan, Pasig, Tacurong, Rojas, and General Santos kanina nakita ko. Tapos yung mga cities po na hindi nag-rename, pero thank you pa rin po for supporting the opening of the local governance forum. So yun, nandito pa rin kami to serve. Ako po ay ayoko sabihin yung age nito. Miss Sandy, ako po ay 12 years old nung maipasa yung local government code, and I've been with the league for 17 years. Just like what has been said, maraming wonders yung devolution. And I think for as long as you have dedicated public servants, sa akin si Mayor Bing Leonardia, very instrumental talaga ang guidance ng mga mayors, especially when you read his credentials, diba? He's been in government service for a long time. So yung dedication and passion, ang hirap i-match. Pag nakita mo, ma-meet mo across the board, iba-ibang mayors, city mayors in my case, iba-ibang passion, iba-ibang level of commitment. You have to match that at every point in your serving in my case, 146 cities. Hindi ko ma-imagine si Miss Sandy tsaka si Miss Andeng, how they're doing it. So, but I think wonders of devolution, going back to the theme of the event, it's really still a wonderful. I think we're on governance in a very critical period up. Our friends or our mga cities in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia, in Thailand, they're looking at us. Kasi yung Big Bang, di ba? Maraming version yan. Yung Big Bang, yung limited governance, limited decentralization. They're looking at us. So we're at a critical period kasi iba talaga yung binigay ng Mandanas Garcia ruling it appears like it's a manna from heaven, but we are very talagang a little bit challenged by the amount of services that will be expected from us. Pero for as long as DILG is there, Yusek Ringan, Ma'am Thelma, and the rest of the DILG family, helping us navigate through this tumultuous waters, I think eventually settle yan, madam. So until then, continue yung work at yun nga, walang tulugan. May pandemya man, wala, may Mandanas Garcia man or wala. So thank you and congratulations, 30 years ng local governance, local government code. of 1991. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am Veron. Indeed, these are difficult times and of course, challenging at that. So with Mandanas, it becomes even more exciting and indeed, there is wonder in devolution and in every sense of the word. Now, may we also hear from our from the LMP, Ma'am Loriaga?
Yes, good morning once again. First, we would like to congratulate LGA, DILG. Congratulations, happy anniversary. Kung edad po ang pinag-uusapan, ano po ako siguro? 11 years old pa lang ako noong 1991. Anyway, on behalf of our National President, Mayor Luis Chavez Singson, and our Secretary General, Mayor Cynthia Falcotelo Fortes, again, congratulations and thank you. Ang LMP po ay lagi lang pong nandito, anytime kailangan po ng tulong ng DILG, ng LGA, tawagan nyo lang po kami, Director Telma, or message nyo po kami na kasupport naman po kami parate. Very supportive po naman ang aming mga members, ang aming mga officers also. Totoo yung sinasabi ni Director Veron na napakahirap po, no? Very challenging para po sa amin, sa mga munisipyo, mga members, itong devolution. Gayunpaman, kahit pandemya, pinagsasabay po ng ating mga mayors para po makapasa sila or makasabay po kung ano yung pangangailangan ng sa national government. So, once again, maraming salamat po and congratulations again.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am Loriaga. So, I wonder if nandyan pa po ba si Governor Kua nandyan pa po ba si Governor Dax for a message? Ayan. Yes,
Yeah,
Governor, may
ma'am,
also
but,
ask message from you.
May I also request, baka nandiyan pa si Ma'am Eden, maganda yung mapakinggan natin ang ating barangay officials din. But may I just, in parting, say that it's been a 30-year journey for the local governments. No? And tama yung sinabi ng idol ko na si Mayor Bing, maganda itong local government code because it has brought us a world of opportunity for development in our localities. Ang pananaw ko kasi ang LGU, tayo yung parang gobyerno sa ground. With due respect and deference to our national government who are enablers and policymakers and funders, kami dito sa LGU, tayo po yung gumagalaw, tayo yung nilalapitan kasi tayo yung outlet ng buong bureaucracia sa ground, and therefore we are the face of the government to the people. At kaya napakalaki ng role. And in this 30-year journey, ang dami natin nakitang innovation, improvement, and leadership on the ground. And I salute all levels of government from the barangays, municipalities, cities to the provinces. And I think there's still a world of opportunities to unlock and uncover. That's why I'm glad that the Supreme Court ruling has happened. This EO is happening. It may not be, it may be overwhelming. There may be room for improvement, but I think it's a step in the right direction for us to unlock better opportunities for LGUs to innovate and collaborate. So sana this also paves the way for reviews and discussions on the local code na 30 years na. Ang sabi ng batas, dapat every 5 years nire-review natin. I think this is the opportune time to start reviewing, discussing, and proposing changes to the code for improvement. Diba? Para to afford better flexibility, breadth, and width dun sa mga LGUs that want to innovate. So yun lang po. I think I would like to thank the DILG and the LGA for this 30-year journey with us. Ako specifically, I was 14 years old when it was passed, and I'm happy that it did, and it has benefited not only my stint in government but also the people in my province. So maraming salamat, and I'm looking forward to listening intently to the experiences, challenges, and opportunities that are in front of my fellow local government workers. Mabuhay po kayo.
Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng ating mga panauhin ngayong umaga. Honorable Dakila Carlo Cua of ULAP, Honorable Presbyterio Velasco, LPP President, as represented, Honorable Evilio Leonardia of LCP President, Honorable Luis Singson, LMP President, Honorable Eden C. Pineda, LNB President. Maraming salamat po sa inyong active po, at maraming salamat po sa lahat ng inyong mga insights na ibigay sa amin ngayong umaga. It was indeed a fruitful session ngayong umaga po, and we believe that patikim pa lamang po ito. There will be more fruitful sessions in the succeeding events, and we will, as we have this forum. Ang dami-dami po nating takeaway. Isa po doon sa tumatak sa akin yung sinabi kanina ni Governor Cua that no LGU is an island, and working together and leagues play an important role. So ibig sabihin po, at the end of the day, enhanced collaboration natin. Also, nakuha din natin doon yung mga sa strategic directions po ng ating mga leagues. Of course, yung linking and providing information po by the leagues sa kanilang pong mga miyembro. Of course, looking into the legalities of the policies, as stressed kanina ni Ma'am Sandra, is also important. And also, galing po sa ating LNP naman, yung to encourage the participation of all LGUs, and of course, building consensus and advocating that consensus. So, indeed, I agree with our speakers that governance in a critical period, ang meron po tayo ngayon, it's been a wonderful 30 years rather. It's been a wonderful 30 years, and many more challenges are up ahead, our leagues and our LGUs. The feeling of our LGUs, alam ko po, in-express ng ating mga LGUs, medyo challenging yung times, but I believe that the feeling of our LGUs, yung ating leagues na medyo challenging ngayon, is an affirmation that indeed our leaders are working very hard to provide a quality service for everyone. With that po, we thank you, and I hope that our participants and our lahat-lahat po ng lumahok ngayong umaga ay nakapulot po ng mabubuting inputs to be able to contribute po para sabay-sabay po tayong lahat mag-contribute sa ating good governance. And with that, I want to thank you everyone. Maraming salamat. Madamo nga salamat. Once again, I am Attorney Michelle Antiviejo, and now I will give back the floor to our hosts, Christian and Nika.
Thank you so much, Attorney Michelle Anviejo of DILG Region 12, for moderating our session interactively and for that comprehensive synthesis. Indeed, our knowledge towards good and empowered local governance has amplified with all the sharing of information about excellence and innovations of our speakers. We are certain and we are sure na maraming natututunan sa mga sharing ng ating mga resource speakers and sa lahat ng nag-tune in since we started and up to this end of this session.
First, we would like to thank our resource persons for this session, starting with Congressman Edgardo Chato for helping us out relieve the journey of the Local Government Code of 1991. Nagkaalaman po tayo ng edad kung when the Local Government Code of 1991 was passed. And of course, we would like to thank our dear Secretary of the DILG, Secretary Eduardo Año, Undersecretary Rolando Toledo from the Department of Budget and Management, and of course, the different leaders from the leagues and their representatives. Please accept po our token of appreciation. We will be sending po the electronic certificate and even the plaque, the physical tokens in your respective offices as our sign of gratitude. And most especially, nagpapasalamat po kami sa ating mga participants, sa ating mga local chief executives, mga miyembro po ng ating mga sanggunian, sa mga local functionaries, sa ating mga kasamahan sa kagawaran, sa DILG, and of course, the different representatives from the different academic institutions, private organizations, community members, all over the country. Maraming salamat po.
All right, thank you, Sir Yan. And another gentle reminder lang po, to be able to get your e-certificates, kindly accomplish the feedback form. Gusto po namin na magbigay ng better experience sa inyo sa mga susunod pa naming sessions. So as you can see po on the screen, please visit the links provided or scan the QR code. You may also message our chat moderators for any queries. And we truly appreciate your feedback, lalo po para sa ikabubuti ng aming mga programa.
I know you're all excited for the succeeding sessions in your monitors. Ayan po, nakikita ninyo ang schedules for the upcoming sessions this October. As we would mention, this is not just the first and last, but this will be a series of activities on October 14. Let's all tune into the session on unveiling the power of devolution towards empowered local government units. Kita-kita po tayo at 8:30 a.m.
Also, please like, follow, and share the Local Government Academy Facebook page at LGA Philippines and the LGA website at www.lga.gov.ph forum to know more and get updates about the Philippine Local Governance Forum 2021.
Again, the Philippine Local Governance Forum 2021 is brought to you by the following organizations: the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Bureau of Local Government Development, the DILG Region 6, the DILG Region 12, and the Local Government Academy.
Of course, before we go, may we invite everyone to please turn on your video camera for a photo opportunity.
Muli, we would like to thank you for attending today's session. See you po in our next sessions. Marami pong inihain sa inyo ang Philippine Local Governance Forum. Magkita-kita po tayo sa mga sessions natin ngayong Oktubre at sabay-sabay po natin i-celebrate ang 30th 30th founding anniversary rather ng Local Government Code of 1991. Muli po, iniinanyaan po namin ang lahat na magbukas ng kanilang mga video camera para po sa ating photo opportunity. Right, habang kinukuha po yung mga pictures natin, keep smiling lang po. We are 300 plus in the platform, 300 strong participants. Not included yung mga kasama po natin sa ating mga Facebook pages. We're also streaming this live via the different Facebook platforms of the Department of the Interior and Local Government mula Central Office hanggang po sa ating mga regional offices. All right? See you po again. Bye and keep safe everyone. Maraming salamat po.
Ingat po tayong lahat.